open house this week will feature guest hosts from the South Mountain Partnership. The South Mountain Partnership is a collaborative network of people and organizations protecting and promoting the agricultural, natural, cultural, and recreational resources of Adams, Cumberland, Franklin, and York counties. Over time, we have transformed into an alliance of citizens, businesses, nonprofits, colleges and universities, and government agencies all working together because we love the place that we call home. Our work can only move forward with the help of our partners, and today we want to highlight the important work they are doing in the region. We hope you will join us. Click the link below or scan the QR code to learn more about our State of the Region project.
Welcome to Open House, a program celebrating great people doing great things in our communities. I'm Julia Chain with the South Mountain Partnership, and I'm a guest host today, and I'm super excited to introduce you to my guest, Jason Beale. Jason is the Executive Director of the Central Pennsylvania Conservancy. Jason, thanks so much for being on today.
Yeah, thank you, Julia. It's really exciting to be here and share the work that we're doing at Central Pennsylvania Conservancy, as well as how it intersects with South Mountain Partnership.
Yeah, thank you so much. So the South Mountain Partnership, as you know, is a collective of all kinds of partners. We've got municipalities, local government, counties, educational institutions, and a big share of folks like you who work in nonprofits in the environmental sector. So tell me a bit about the Central Pennsylvania Conservancy, tell me about what you do, and kind of set the stage.
Sure. So Central Pennsylvania Conservancy is a land trust. So we've been incorporated as a nonprofit since 1982. And as our name implies, we've done a lot of work in the center part of the state, primarily in the south central area. And so we have our oldest preserves are up in Juniata County, where we have 3. And then we also now have a public preserve in Carlisle, the LaTorte Spring Garden Preserve. But a lot of the work that we do is with our partners throughout the region. And so we've transferred over 2,000 acres of land to the public to expand state parks, state forests, and state game lands. And then we also do conservation easements with private landowners to help protect their farms and their forests for the future as well.
Yeah. What is an easement? Tell me more about that.
So an easement is basically you're acquiring rights for that property. So for example, let's say there's a 100-acre farm and they don't ever want that to be subdivided in the future. So through the easement, we will purchase that subdivision right and basically take that away as a right for that owner as well as any future owner. So it is a perpetual agreement, but it can be a really great tool for protecting farmland in particular. We also use it to protect forested parcels as well.
Very cool. Well, so yeah, tell me from your perspective as a land trust, how is it that you look around the region and understand that conserving land is important? Like what are some of the benefits?
Well, I think one of the number one benefits is I would say that our natural resources and our landscape really kind of informs who we are culturally in this area. I think one of the greatest things about living here is if you're anywhere in the valley, you can kind of look up and either see North Mountain or South Mountain, and it's these vast forested ridges that really kind of bracket the Cumberland Valley where we're headquartered. But I think it really shows us that the natural world is always right there. You know, and it may be somewhere far away. You know, you're going to have to maybe drive a little bit to get there. But the connectivity piece is finding out how do we protect areas in the valley as well that can link people to those resources, as well as ensure that those ridges remain forested and protected.
Yeah, super. I'm excited to talk more about connectivity later, and I really like how you're underlining the importance of our home and kind of the orienting that our mountains and valleys sort of give us. I agree. When I'm not here, I think we're in the mountains. I'm supposed to be looking at mountains.
Well, in Cumberland County, they just did sharing their tourism survey that they did, and the number one thing that arose from visitors to the region is they come here because of the natural beauty. And you know, so people are coming to the region because of that, and we know for those of us that live here and work here and play here, it's something that we all cherish as well.
Absolutely. Well, I know you're really passionate about your work, and the CPC's got its hands in a lot of different projects. Yeah. So tell me about something that's up and coming or you're excited about.
So this year, a lot of our focus has been on reinvigorating our public preserves. And so we do have 3 preserves that are open for the public. Up in Juniata County, we have Port Royal Wetlands and Greg's Woods. And those are part of the historic Cedar Spring wetland complex. They actually have a lot of nice natural diversity, some very unique plants, great bird life and amphibian life. And we just recently worked with Walker Township to connect our parks, our preserves to their parks. And so basically kind of a value add. So they have their classic park with their ball fields and walking trails. Now we have a natural component to add to it. And so hopefully those will provide more value to the community. We've opened up some new trails and really want to get bird watching community and other folks to realize that these little natural gems are tucked in there right off of Route 322 and near the 75 intersection.
Yeah, it sounds like a good road trip.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Now tell me about the preserve that's in Carlisle.
Yeah, so the Letort Spring Garden Preserve is our most recent preserve. We acquired that in 2018 with support from DCNR, Cumberland County Land Partnerships, and a variety of other funders and partners. And in the past few years, we've been building up a grant to improve the access to it. So it's a former watercress farm, has some really nice wetland beds. The East Branch of the Letort, the famed trout stream, runs right through it. So it's really a great place to build a preserve around and invite the community out. And so what we're doing is putting a new parking lot, and we're going to have an ADA trail that will run from that parking lot to the historically registered barn. And then that will connect to the Letort Regional Authority's Nature Trail, which is a popular rail trail that runs from downtown Carlisle all the way into South Middleton Township. And so really a nexus of a variety of different partners coming together. And the accessibility thing is something we really want to add wherever we can in our preserves to ensure that everybody has the opportunity to engage with nature in some capacity.
Yeah, that's a really a great mission, and I know that you're also working on a little overlook, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be another accessible opportunity to see some of those birds that you were talking about.
Yeah, so the biggest, we're in the midst of that right now, and thank you to South Mountain Partnership and the American Water Foundation. And so when we purchased the property as a farm, and like many farms, there's a lot of leftover infrastructure. So we had basically the stairs to nowhere, basically just a concrete landing standing about 10 feet above the ground, and the old loading dock. And so what we did through the grant funding is we put safety railings up there. We're in the process of turning them into ADA picnic areas and put in some educational signage and landscaping. And so these will be places to hopefully get folks to spend some time at the preserve, maybe meet friends there, but also provide a new perspective on the birds, on the wildflowers, and hopefully get some photographers engaged to enjoy those different perspectives.
Yeah, the preserve sounds like a really cool place, and I personally experienced it and really enjoyed some time there. Tell me about a fun experience you've had there. Have you ever seen a cool bird or?
Yeah, well, I guess two different things. One of my favorite birds I've seen there is the red-headed woodpecker, and we got to see those on a walk just a couple weeks ago. There's some good habitat for them. We've seen them off and on for a couple of years, but I only see them a few times a year when I go out, so it's always exciting. And then we love doing evening walks. It seems to be a great way to get the public out with everybody's busy schedule, and very often we're serenaded by great horned owls as we're walking in by the light of the full moon.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very cool. And if someone wanted to visit the preserve, the best place to figure out where to park, would that be going to your website? Or?
Yep, it's 1110 South Spring Garden Street, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Like I say, we'll be under construction here with the parking lot soon, so we will have some sign up to hopefully redirect folks to other locations. But what we'll be looking to do is in April, when the weather is a little bit nicer as we're heading into the fall here, we'll be doing a dedication to the public. So we'll have events Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday to celebrate the ADA trail, the elevated viewing platforms, and just reintroduce it to the community and thank our funders for all their support.
Awesome. Well, it sounds you're working on so many different scales. You've got these great preserves, and then all the work that you're doing to protect land, easements. It's a lot of different directions. And I understand you just went through a strategic planning process maybe to look at all of those things. So tell me about that. What did you learn? Sure.
Yeah. So with our strategic planning process, there were a couple of goals. Obviously, as we wanted to, evaluate internally where are our strengths, where are our capabilities, and then talk with our partners, our funders, and our members, and get different perspectives on what people are focused on, what funders want to support right now, and make sure that what we're doing is aligned with our community, and then see where that intersects. And so a couple of the big things that came out of that is continuing our work on the Kittatinny Ridge, North Mountain for folks in Carlisle, but the ridge runs from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, and CPC is working to protect the section in Cumberland County and Perry County, as well into Franklin down to the Maryland border. And then, excuse me, the other big conservation landscape, of course, is South Mountain. And right now we are engaged in a big project to help protect about 900 acres of Camp Tuckahoe, which is a really great project. The Boy Scouts are moving their council headquarters to the camp, so the camp will remain in operations, but the land around it will be available to the public and, of course, to the Scouts to continue to use that for their program. So it's going to be a really great addition to an area that's already pretty well protected with the Appalachian Trail, game lands, state game lands 305, and Diakon Wilderness Center. And so that's really what we like to do, is kind of build up and connect conservation areas and provide new access for the public.
Yeah, creating those connections is so critical. And tell me more about Tuckahoe. Where is that located? What town is that?
So it actually straddles the ridge between Cumberland County and York County. And so basically, Tuckahoe Road takes you right up into this bowl, and the Scout Camp itself is basically centered in that bowl, with Memory Lake is kind of one of the big features there. And then we're protecting kind of the horseshoe around it. And again, there's down the road, we anticipate access to the Appalachian Trail and some of the other systems there. So.
Yeah, looking forward to that being official and hearing about the next steps, because it's a really great project.
And the other big component about that too is York and Cumberland are two of the fastest growing counties in the region. And again, we know that people who live here want to enjoy the natural world. People that are coming here want to enjoy that. And so a lot of this is trying to be proactive to make sure that these spaces exist as people are coming in, because the time to preserve is now, because later is too late.
Yes. Yeah, you know, so much of our work is reactive because we're trying to keep up, but it's really exciting whenever we can be proactive, because I think that really shows an opportunity for us to forward think and to make generational change, which the Tuckahoe is, I've heard it described as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, it really is, given the size. We don't have that many parcels left. And I think the other neat thing is it really helps to protect and maintain that heritage of the many people that have gone through Camp Tuckahoe since 1948 when the doors opened, and so many family members have had a connection there, and so it means a lot to the community. And the fact that, you know, the Scouts will continue to operate, but we're opening up doors to the rest of the public, just seems like a win-win on so many levels.
Yeah, very cool. Well, congratulations on that project and all of this planning that you've been undergoing. And you've been a part of our planning too. So the State of the Region has been a project that the South Mountain Partnership has been working on for a couple years now. We started by measuring our health, essentially. And those measurements sort of allowed us to see some gaps or some places for improvement. So through a exciting process with our county planning agencies and our partners, we whittled down a lot of recommendations to 5 key projects that we wanted to work on in the next 5, 10, 15, maybe 25 years. We could be working on this stuff for a while. But one of them that I wanted to talk about today, because I think it aligns both of our work quite well, is creating wildlife corridors to connect those two ridges that you talked about. I have a sort of a new joke that we've got the spine of our region is the Michaud, and we need to put arms on our spine. We need to put it back together and to kind of connect those valleys. So I'm curious about how you view that as important, and how does it align with the work you're already doing? And you're one of the key partners in making something like this happen, because you do conserve land actively.
Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest things that we've learned from ecology is that island ecology doesn't work. So if you just protect something, kind of draw a circle and say leave that alone, but you ignore what happens around that, eventually the species within there, those populations are going to drop and crash because they can't expand, they can't get new gene flow. And so the more we can connect things allows wildlife to move. Kind of a good example are frogs. So a lot of frogs are actually forest species. They're not actually in the water for most of the year. Same thing with salamanders. They're just in there for maybe a couple of weeks breeding. And very often we've bisected that habitat with a road, and so when they're doing these mass migrations to breed or leave those areas, it can be a high degree of mortality. And so corridors can be as simple as an underpass to allow the species to move under. Out west we see a lot of overpasses. But the other side of it is we do have a lot of existing corridors. So our ridges, a lot of our waterways that have protection on the riparian areas serve functionally as corridors. And kind of your idea about the spine there, it's making those connections. So we've got great connection on the Kittatinny Ridge or South Mountain, but how do we allow species to move through the valley from one to the other?
Right, and our valley is facing extreme development pressure, as you already mentioned. So this is time to do it for sure. And so, and you mentioned this a little bit, but for more context, what would a wildlife corridor look like if we're super successful in 30 years? What could we see?
I think there's a couple different ways to express it. So thinking about the Kittatinny Ridge in particular, a lot of sections are protected, but our goal is to protect as much as we can. And so, for example, the Tuscarora Trail is a 242-mile trail that runs from West Virginia up here through Pennsylvania. CPC has protected different sections of that trail, but protecting that entire trail or a big section of that can serve functionally as a corridor, not just for people in recreation, but also for wildlife to be able to move there. But again, that cross-valley connections I think are also important. And so one of the things that comes with wildlife corridors is not just about ecology, it's also about human health and safety. And Pennsylvania annually ranks as one of the top 3 states in the nation for reported wildlife vehicle collisions. I myself have hit multiple deer, and I mean almost everybody I know
hit me.
has hit a deer.
They've hit me, not. But,
and you know, fortunately, most people walk away from those accidents with only vehicle damage, but you know, there are fatalities and serious injuries. And very often, based on development pressure, we can have a better understanding of where animals are going to be funneled and forced to go. So a corridor there can help address both the public safety issue, provide ecological connectivity, and also enhance public recreation opportunities. So again, think about that win-win-win. And I really like how it connects to the work of South Mountain Partnership, because when I look at the partnership, obviously there's a strong conservation focus, but you pull in businesses, a lot of non-traditional partners, so we get a much more holistic understanding of our region and our area and how all of these things impact and intersect. You know, and access of people and where they go can impact businesses and things. And so I think, again, proactive planning, doing these things now gives us the opportunity, hopefully, to enjoy them later in the future when the development is here.
Absolutely, and I think there's so much opportunity for these to benefit multiple species, humans, animals, plants, all at the same time. A corridor that works for wildlife could also work as a trail, as you already mentioned. So I think there's a lot of overlap and opportunities to raise everyone's experience in our region. Thanks for that. You're a real local expert in wildlife corridors, so we look forward to leaning on you as we continue, because I think you're painting the picture of what the future could look like is really inspiring.
And I should say, too, a lot of land trusts and conservation organizations have already done corridor type work. The principles are there. We just haven't really enunciated it such, you know, as part of a bigger connected project, and I think that's our opportunity.
Absolutely. You know, the South Mountain Partnership is nested under the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, and that's a really new and cool interpretation of the Appalachian Trail. It's not just a footpath, but a climate corridor, a wide area, the only sort of northeast wild space left. So it's pretty cool to think about it in that frame of reference as well.
Yeah, and the Appalachian Trail, I think, you know, you think about the foresight, I think it was like 1939 or something, when and it took, decades to get things to the point protected where it is now. But again, the foresight that earlier generations had, and we have the opportunity to do that for those to come.
Absolutely. So CPC has long time been a partner of the South Mountain Partnership and probably one of our founding partners. Tell me a little bit about why being in a network is important in our work for you.
Well, kind of going back to that holistic approach. So, I've met realtors there, I've met business owners, I've met, other organizations that don't seem to have a direct connection to nonprofit, to conservation. But what that really helps me do is get a better understanding of our community and the interests that people have, but also the intersections, even though we might have different, focuses, we're not siloed. There's so much crossover. Right. And I think that's so important, because when we're making these decisions for conservation or land planning, we are making decisions that are going to impact the community. And so everybody has to have a seat at the table to make sure that we're, making the best choices going forward. Absolutely.
We know in nature that diversity makes our nature strong, and I think the same thing works in partnerships, and having as many different people at the table really creates a strong one. So thanks for being one of those people at the table.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, proud to be part of the partnership.
And thanks for coming today, Jason. It was really nice to speak with you.
Good, absolutely. I'd love to do it, and keep up the great work.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. This has been Open House.